Hey, this is Troy with Now with Troy with a weekend edition. As I was splitting some wood this weekend, playing a little lumberjack, I had a realization that there's either some inspiration of thinking differently, or you might call it redneck innovation. But I think it applies to the things we talk about it now with work and the flow of work. See, my problem is this. I live in the mountains and I heat with wood, and so I have logs that somehow need to become this. I need to split a lot of wood. And that takes a lot of time. And so what I found is we think about process. Sometimes we need to take a step back and think about how we've done things and how it takes so much time and what we can do differently. And what I found is in my own process of splitting wood, I've seen two different patterns. One is how can we group work so work can be done faster? And then how do we two things I found is one, look at ways that we can combine work so we can get work done more efficiently. And the second is where can we eliminate some of those manual steps? So in splitting wood, for me, that really comes to two things. There's the process of taking those logs and cutting them into smaller chunks, often called bucking wood. And so what I found is there's time where I needed to come up with something else. I needed to come up with a different rack. And so in the past, I used to take my chainsaw and cut all the individual logs into segments, and I'm moving it around, moving each log over, and I built a bucking frame. Yeah, it's a little redneck, but what it lets me do is it puts 5 logs in a row, and then I can come down and cut them and end up with many logs ready to split much faster than the way I was doing it before. And I think when it comes to our work, trying to find ways that we can batch work is kind of the same thing. We need to find ways that we can put work together. Now, that might be grouping alerts into alert groups, or might be putting different CIs together on the same change request so that we have the same steps and we need to deploy those same tasks against a whole number of different things. Much like when I'm chopping wood or cutting logs into splittable smaller sections, you have to find a way to work a little more efficiently and effectively. And this makes cutting wood, all of those logs, into a much faster process. Now, I sped this up. Obviously, this isn't real speed, but it still goes a lot faster. If you actually want to see it in real speed, you can hop over to my own private channel on YouTube. I posted the whole raw film so you can see it in all its glory. But the process is simple. And I think when it comes to our work, we need to be able to take a step back and rethink what are the manual steps that often we just assume this is the way that we have to do work. And we have to think about it over and over that that's the way that we're going to do it. And often there's another approach. There's another way that we can do it. And that process is a different way to innovate. And so I challenge is you look at your work. If you'd like to reach out to me and talk through that, what are ways that we can group work that maybe you haven't thought of before? And how could that help the efficiency of work as it flows through you? For my wood splitting, bucking it is one step, splitting it is another. And here I have to really account for YouTube University, right? There's lots of things that we can find online. And this is one that I just had to try it. I had seen references to using an old tire to build a splitting platform. In the past, if you split wood, what I used to do, I had several splitting blocks. I'd put logs on each one, and I'd split one, pieces would go flying. I'd split the next one, pieces would go flying. And it was a little bit faster when I had 3 or 4 splitting blocks, but still, after each swing, I'm going to chase another block. By grouping all these logs together in an old tire, right? It's redneck. But as you can see in the video, I can now go through and just hit, and split all of those pieces of wood and then pick them up to go and rack them. It's much faster. Just like in our work world, when we think about where are there steps that we could automate, either by, having no fingers on a keyboard, having ServiceNow reach out with orchestration, have a technology touch another orchestration so it's more automated, completely orchestrated, or have ServiceNow really pass it from one group to another so we know those steps are happening. So it's not dropped on the floor, not lost in someone's email box or a shared email box, that we're looking for ways that you're not taking a step out of doing work to pick up the pieces to do it again. Find ways to group it together and get more done. Again, with that one, if you jump over to my regular YouTube channel, you can see the whole video there. Again, simple process. If you wear things like this and you have to do some lumberjacking, get creative. Think about different ways to do it. And the hat, if you might be curious about that, it's called a crown cap. And found them when we were up in Niagara Falls. And my wife might say I've got an issue with lots of caps because I think I've got a few, but not enough. She thinks I've got way too many. But they're a lot of fun. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. If you're curious about how you might be able to group your work together or find ways to automate it, reach out. I'd be happy to buy you a coffee. Again, Troy Pasola with Third Era. Thanks for tuning in to Now with Troy. Subscribe on YouTube, and we'll catch you later. Thanks. Bye.